today's edition of What's Classy If You're Rich but Trashy If You're Poor, having lots of children, being a stay-at-home mum, homeschooling, tax evasion, having a husband who's wealthier than you, and speaking multiple languages. Only one of these women is good, but how can you tell? Other than the obvious classism and racism, which we will be getting back to later. But you can be investigative like this dude.
How good are you at house cleaning?
Excellent.
And cooking?
Excellent.
Oh, that's a nice question to ask her. Seeing if her skill sets fit in with your lifestyle. What are you going to be asking her next about her hobbies, her dreams in life? What about what she's looking for in a partner?
Would you
I love to
be
clean.
willing to just stay home and not work?
I don't work.
Oh, that's
I'm
outstanding.
Okay, so you want her not to work, but lucky for you, she's doing that already, because, we hate independent women, right? So he's very patriarchal. That must mean that he is absolutely excelling in patriarchal culture, which we live in today.
You're going to be the provider. I'm looking for work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so then how are you expecting to be the provider, to, take care of her? Oh, wait a second. You just want her to be taking care of you. This isn't uncommon in manosphere spaces. You could refer to this TikTok. I'm sorry, but I refuse to waste my time on a girl who enjoys partying and getting drunk. I'm not here to babysit you. I'm looking for a wife, not a girl who can't act her age. Sorry, maha girlies. Like having fun with your friends? Chad isn't interested. So this dude would like a girl who's introverted, who has hobbies at home, but probably hobbies which align with, stuff that can benefit him, ideally. I don't care if you slept well, what your favourite colour is, or if you ate. Just tell me if you're going to add to my life or make it harder. Oh, sweet! So he doesn't care at all about your well-being, just about how you can benefit him. Oh, this sounds like a wonderful foundation for a relationship. My wife makes $0, but she gives me the freedom to build wealth without distraction by handled. Think you mean handling everything else. There is so much power in the work nobody else sees, and I take none of that for granted. So she earns $0 from external things, but you did just say that she was doing a lot of work, so you must be paying her though, right? Something for her retirement as well, stuff for her to be able to spend for her own free money, because she's doing a lot of work to support you, right? Oh, wait a second, he's saying that he hasn't yet built wealth. But don't feel too bad for him because he's got more stuff on his profile. I told my wife I can no longer help with the dishes because Trump banned men from women's sports.
Was that supposed to be funny?
Have you ever seen a diamond shaped like Trump? This dude actually custom cut it. What a waste of a pretty stone.
That guy's a real D-list.
And as many a bro podcast or right-wing politician will tell you, the real problem with the world today is women not getting married young and having lots of babies.
I want more babies in the United States of America.
The biggest thing is this: more young women need to get married at a younger age and start having kids. The single woman issue is one of the biggest issues faced in a civilization.
I'll be known as the fertilization president, and that's okay. That's not bad.
Oh, good. These are the lowlifes.
And that divorce is bad, actually. 50% of marriages end in divorce. That's just a myth which has been spread around through social media. The data does not back this up, and this Snopes article, which I've got linked for you down below along with all my other sources, thoroughly debunks this, and there are many different variables and reasons behind people getting divorced.
You were mistaken.
I guarantee that percentage would plummet to be basically zero if child support and alimony weren't available to women. What a way to trap people in abusive relationships. Cool. This isn't scary at all. But I mean, single mothers are such a problem. It's not the absent fathers that are the issue, it's the single mothers, the one who stays to look after the kids. Yeah, they're the problem. And also women earning their own money and being wealthier than the man. Ugh, what a turn-off.
I don't find it attractive if a woman makes a ton of money. If your woman's making 20 times more money than you are, bro, she's wearing the pants.
That's my money now.
Yet these very same men are angry if a woman expects him to pay on a date because he then accuses them of being gold diggers. So do you want a woman with a job or not, Chad? Odd, isn't it then, that tradwives, or at least traditional homemaking experts, who are subservient, beautiful, hopefully young and fertile women, are the ones who are wanted? So if you want your women like this, then clearly you love patriarchy. So you must be thriving under it, right? I mean, it's a world built by men for men. So why aren't you a multi-millionaire? You mustn't be working hard enough. Then why is it that women are painted as gold diggers when the real issue is that wealth has been concentrated to the top 1% progressively over time? And whilst worker productivity has been increasing year over year, wage stagnation or even deflation has been happening. And this has been affecting everybody except for the top 1%. No, that's not the problem. Feminism is. But you know what? We've got women falling for it too.
You look just like you should.
Got me all figured out, haven't you?
Yes, I think so.
Hot take, but our fear of being accused of being a gold digger has made it so that women are begging for men to say that they're worthy. We've all seen those really annoying prank videos of like, oh, gotcha gold digger, where they're like, oh, this is my car, psych, it's not really my car, ha ha. See, gold digger gets caught out. We've had Gen Z get raised on that internet slop comedy, right? So maybe that's having a bit of an impact. And plus, how many manosphere memes have we seen where it's like the woman is saying, oh, you need to have a 6-figure salary, you need to be 6 foot tall and have a steady job. And then he's like, well, then what are you bringing to the table? And she's like, me. And he says, not interested. I mean, books like Women Deserve Less even exist. And sadly, as I've talked about, there are lots of women saying that feminism is actually a really bad thing for women. This warped version of feminism which says that women should be child-free, that feminists look down on stay-at-home mothers, when actually I would argue, like me personally and pretty much every single feminist, yes, every feminist that I know, are arguing that that is real work and that should be compensated, and you should have securities in place through the government, not through a man that you're depending on, but support so that you are able to be financially independent so you're not trapped under the thumb of someone. And that feminists have sold the idea that women can have it all by working a 40-hour work week and having kids and a husband and looking after them all, and that that's a really good thing. When in fact, that's corporate girl boss feminism. That is Sheryl Sandberg lean in feminism. That book has done so much damage, it makes me so very angry. In fact, what you will find from feminists is them pointing out how unfair it is that women are expected to work a 40+ hour work week to then go home to do a second shift of unpaid labor, where you're doing the childcare, you're looking after the husband, and you have this whole mental and emotional load going on because you are the one that is running the household and making sure that everybody is taken care of. And on top of all of that, you're expected to pay 50-50 when it comes to all of the bills for the house, even though women are paid less. And it's not like her job was really making her that important anyway, because as is shown from research, they've got less respect for their wives' careers and are less flexible around them. Meaning that the wife, even if she's working full-time, does most of what? The unpaid labor. And as Deloitte research shows from 2023, of 5,000 women across 10 different countries, 98% of whom were in heterosexual relationships, nearly 40% of them said that their partner's career took precedence. Not to mention the fact 88% of them worked full-time, but nearly half of them have primary responsibility for domestic tasks. And it's critical to remember that women still only earn 77 cents for every dollar a man makes, and that's even less for BIPOC women. Feminists like me call that utter BS, and yes, there is a future video which I'm working on about tech and unpaid labor, because there is much more to say on that. Thanks to the failures of corporate girl boss feminism, which really isn't feminism, it's just capitalism, which is using feminist language to make it seem like it's really empowering to work yourself to the ground, even though it's absolutely not.
Best advice for women in business: get your ass up and work. It seems like nobody wants to work these days.
But two avenues in particular have come up when it comes to ways that women can cope with this disillusionment with this fake feminism, I'm calling it. One is to lean in to be the perfect wife and mother. Or you can lean into classism and sexism and basically be like the 3 women from Sirens.
To what, marry rich guys?
I'll handle this. We didn't pursue them, Devin. They came to us. We have special powers. All of us do.
Nah, you thought it was the other 3 women I was on about. Nah, it's these 3. But both avenues, even though they go in different ways, end up with you being entirely financially dependent on one man. But one is seen as a saint, whilst the other is a sinner. But no matter what kind of woman you are, a virtuous old-fashioned girly, a temptress, or anyone in between, you shouldn't have to wait on any man to feel good, and I've got the perfect sponsorship for you today. Womanizer. All of their products have patented air pleasure technology, which stimulates without direct contact, creating a unique O. Liberty 2 is a travel-friendly cutie with a powerful secret: 8 intensity levels. Nobody would know what this is in your luggage. Their new toy, Next, has 14 different intensity levels. And an afterglow feature, because no one wants to have a hard stop after a good time. The toy turns on only when it comes into contact with skin, so it's quiet as a whisper. Want something with a bit more oomph? Try the Blend toy, which comes with dual action. And, unlike Chad, always knows where the G is. The packaging is really discreet, so nobody knows what fun awaits inside except for you. And best of all, they're all waterproof, so you can make that bath, shower, or if you hit the jackpot, the pool, that much more of a fun experience. And all Womanizer products have a 5-year warranty, so there's no wearing these bad boys out. And even if you have your dream partner or partners, who's to say no to having extra tools around to heighten enjoyment? Did you know that not only is there a gendered labour gap, but there's a gendered O gap as well? In a survey of 50,000 people, 95% of heterosexual men said that they usually or always owe. Meanwhile, for heterosexual women, it's only 65% of the time. And that's in a big part because our O's are thought of as extra work. We don't need an O gap to exist anymore, nor shame around pleasure. And thanks to Womanizer sponsoring this video, they have free gifts for all of you today. All you need to do is click my link at the top of the description box or in the pinned comment down below and enter your email address to get your free gift from Womanizer today. Tradwife is virtuous. Though the tradwife in a real sense does not have a job producing content online because, you know, they're so busy looking after their kids, looking after household, and also serving their man in whatever way he pleases, that she doesn't have time for any hobbies or interests of her own. She very much falls into the honest poverty which was really prevalent in the 1930s, you know, in the Great Depression. But this was more common when it comes to men. People in poverty have been blamed for their circumstances basically since serfdom ended, and you're meant to prove your worthiness for any sort of handout, whether that's from the government or from other people. For example, remember when Snow White had to run away from the Queen from trying to unalive her, and she stumbled across a home in the forest. Because she had nothing to offer in order to be able to pay to stay there, she was really resourceful and used her womanly skills to hopefully be able to stay there for free. Her worthiness was proven, even if forest critters did technically help her out. It's this exact same mentality which is being encouraged here, not only by right-wing men, but by women as well. And speaking personally here, I understand falling into this trap. As someone who has felt incredibly unworthy my entire life, male approval was so important to me. And being married meant that you were worthy as a woman. It meant that you were chosen. That means that you're good enough. But kids? I never wanted them, and I also can't have them. So I felt that I had to make up for that lacking in me.
Can't have any kids? Dying alone, 100%. Absolutely not. Are you kidding me?
By being really good at doing everything else, by taking care of the housework and knowing how to cook and bake and clean, and do not take that lemon meringue pie I made as like what I normally do, okay? I'm actually a really good cook and baker. That was the first time I ever tried that recipe. Knowing and doing domestic tasks like sewing and holding the mental load and just organizing everything. And plus, I always expected to be working at the same time as doing all of that. I mean, heck, you could argue that I still struggle with that today, yet it's Brandon that's the one that's telling me to try not to work as much as I do and to take some rest time because I'm not very good at that. But also, I'm not earning enough to be able to do that. But because these messages are so incredibly strong, and that fear that a guy will leave you if you're not pleasing him enough, if you're not doing all of the things that a woman should do, if you're not attractive enough, you're not like basically a maid, a mother, a sex worker, and everything wrapped into one, then you'll be left abandoned. It keeps you feeling this anxiety, especially in this capitalistic hellscape where women are paid far less. And also if you suffer from any sort of illness or disability. Hi, hello, it's me. Plus, good virtuous women don't want to end up with a rich guy anyway, as has happened in so many rom-coms. The trailer for the movie Materialist with Pedro Pascal has just come out. Yes, because he's the main attraction, we understand that, that's why I'm just name dropping him. He plays the wealthy dude opposite to Chris Evans, who plays Dakota's ex, who they have a yelling match at. And I think that a lot of us can tell where this is potentially going, especially if you've seen Sweet Home Alabama as many times as I have. She doesn't end up with a rich, sweet McDreamy who does nothing wrong. Even letting her choose her own engagement ring, which is my preferred method, by the way. We designed our rings together because if you're going to wear it for the rest of your life, you better well love it. She ends up back with her greasy ex-husband. Even in How to Marry a Millionaire, where the explicit reason for finding a man is to land rich men, they all just end up marrying for love, and one of whom gets rewarded by being married to a rich guy, but she didn't even know that he was rich, only gets found out afterwards. Message after message is that the righteous woman doesn't care about money and security. She only wants love, and love doesn't normally come from the rich guy if there's another option. I mean, yes, big is rich, but he's not Russian oligarch level of rich. Now, Crazy Rich Asians both subverts and falls into this trope. We love this movie, including Brandon. He really enjoyed watching it. Rachel is accused of being a gold digger. However, she never knew about Nick's family wealth. She loved him for him and is rewarded with respect and wealth, but only after she proves her worth.
Instead, I feel like I'm a villain in a soap opera who's plotting to steal your family fortune.
Kitty, however, is an explicit gold digger, leaving Alistair for Bernard. The original ending to Pretty Woman isn't her being rewarded with love and his wealth or anything at the end of the movie. The movie originally ended with her being tossed out of the car and money being thrown at her and him driving her away, leaving her in an alley. I mean, we can't have someone with her kind of morals who's selling her body being rewarded. Oh my goodness, is this the Hays Code? Oh my goodness, is this the Madonna complex all over again? Yes, of course it is. We can never escape Freud as much as we try.
Why won't you die?
However, when it comes to things today, women are still pointed out as being stupid, and that's why they need the benevolent sexism of men by protecting them in the home, locking them at home, and only working there in that little bubble, and not being exposed to the nastiness of the world. Really not being exposed to feminism and critical thinking. Yet at the very same time, women are temptresses and not to be trusted. How can we at the same time be so stupid that we have to have benevolent sexism and also be master manipulators? Remember that study from earlier where men felt stress if their female partners earned more than 40% of the household income? However, that same study found that men felt more stressed if they were the sole breadwinner. So this whole tradwife fetishization that we're seeing happening makes no sense. However, the tradwife wish, as in she's subservient to you, is still wanted, as this Harvard Business School study found where they asked more than 25,000 of their previous graduates about their careers and lives after being at Harvard, and most of the women who graduated said that they expected to have an egalitarian marriage, which meant that both people's careers would be taken seriously. However, when it comes to the Gen X men and baby boomers in particular, more than half of them expected that their careers would take priority over their spouses. Interestingly, the expectation was less prevalent amongst men of colour than among white men. 48% of the former, compared with 39% of white men, anticipated their spouse's career would be of equal importance. However, career opportunities for women once they'd had children were squashed. The vast majority of women who left work, it was reluctantly as a last resort because they found themselves in unfulfilling roles. They were no longer considered to be players because they'd had children, often getting mummy tracked. Makes me think of people like Ballerina Farm. It's almost like the way that business and society works, under white supremacist capitalist patriarchy, almost forces women to become the subservient, lesser than people, where they earn less money and are discouraged out of the workplace.
Successful men is because they have an amazing woman with them.
Not really. You guys come when we build the castle. Like, you wouldn't date someone who doesn't have his own apartment. So when the guy's a businessman, he's making money, that's when he gets the girl, right? So you guys come when there's a nest. That's why they call you chicks, right? Okay. You guys are all gold diggers.
Gotta love this classic. I don't know anybody under 35 who could own an apartment through entirely their own money with no family help, especially not in this economy. But he doesn't even let her speak to refute him because the gotcha moment is what matters. The gold digger is a scheming monster. How many movies were we raised on which showed gold digger women being failures as women because they didn't like kids? So that means that they have to be evil and manipulative. But to me, I would take these campy gold diggers over what we're being presented with today any day of the week. I much more have Morticia's attitude.
You have placed Fester under some strange sexual spell. I respect that.
Meanwhile, we've got women today doing all of these femininity training things on TikTok, on YouTube, everywhere, even selling courses, bending over backwards and shrinking and transforming themselves in order to be able to get men to even like them. And this isn't even to manipulate someone out of their money. No, it's just getting them to like you. I've got far greater admiration for women that can make men weak at the knees through the power of the pussy. And then they manipulate all of their money out of them and then just push them off a cliff. Iconic behaviour. Oh yeah, girl power. Did you know that there are 2 occasions where it's completely okay to infantilize men? One is when it comes to doing housework labour. Oh, he's so silly, he doesn't know how to do the washing. And 2, that men can't help themselves when they're near a pretty woman. He'll sign his life away to get close to her. You see, he was completely powerless. He's got no autonomy. I mean, a pretty woman acknowledged him breathing. Wow. He's got no agency of his own. He couldn't help it. And as they keep on telling us, women are the gatekeepers of sex. No, my dude, that's just culture talking. The gold digger, the siren, if you will, manipulates poor men out of all of their money. The very same men who want and pursue a woman who has youth and beauty working for her. The rich man was never taking advantage of her. I mean, just because he has more money, which means he has far more resources in this capitalistic hellscape that we live in. She took advantage of him. She humiliated him. And worse, she'll entrap him with kids and make him pay alimony to her for the rest of her life. If you know the men go their own way movement, that's literally every woman ever. And she won't just ruin his life, but everybody else's life too, because she'll ask the government for money as well, and will just keep on popping out children. What a welfare queen. Yes, Reagan is still haunting us from the grave. And you'll notice a lot of gold digger accusations go towards BIPOC women. And you know what? The welfare queen false narrative, because once again, it's been disproven, this is false, but it's had a global impact. I've met many people in Aotearoa who believe that women are only having children in order to be able to get money from the government. Yes, that is the reason that people will go through all of the pain and effort and labour of having children and looking after this person for 18 plus years of their lives, just to get like a few measly dollars from the government each week. The myth still persists today. I want you to notice how this specifically shames single mothers, not absent fathers, not fathers who cheated, not fathers who left, not fathers who are abusers, not the fathers who are neglectful, not the fathers who withhold money. No, the single mothers are the problem, because women are always the problem. When you really break it down, the main difference between a gold digger and a tradwife is that a gold digger isn't seen to be a good mother. I mean, the absolute worst failing of any woman, besides getting old or not being attractive. She suffers from 3 different sins: greed, vanity, and lust. Because she understands the culture we live in, which only values women's youth and beauty and sexuality, and if she leans into those assets whilst they're valuable, she's a sinner and should be punished. Rather than this being seen as a smart move, no, she is wrong, and it shows that she has a big ego. We may as well call her Eve at this point. And we hate it when a woman knows that she's pretty. The tradwife, on the other hand, doesn't know how pretty she is. She's virtuous like that. Self-esteem issues are in fact very attractive. And yet both of these women rely on men's money. The soft feminine girlies on TikTok and YouTube, like I talked about last time, they still do lean into this, but it's about manifesting your feminine energy to attract men, being able to live a soft life by depending on him and succumbing to him. Look expensive to attract that in your life, but make sure it's classy, never trashy. And this is why you'll notice how white this space is, how old money it looks and appears.
Did she come from money? Now, if she has really expensive taste and she likes really expensive things, but she didn't come from money, so it wasn't embedded from her childhood, look at her taste and then look at her childhood. If they are in line, she's not a gold digger.
There's subtle and not so subtle anti-black vibes happening throughout this media. Even black women that participate in it, you'll notice them take on Eurocentric beauty standards, having straighter hair, for example. It's very homogenous and anti-individualism in terms of self-expression. Like there's only one way to be actually feminine, and more on that in a future video. It's manicured, pedicured, looked after, and he will want to maintain that and look after you because you are a reflection of him and his status, so you have to maintain that always. But like is shown in the great show Sirens, it's not the freedom that you think it is. It's your wings being clipped in the guise of taking care of you, as Michaela, or Kiki, explains.
Does this look like fun to you? Being a Mrs. Somebody?
Your life looks very fun.
Oh, it is, at first. When you're a Mrs. Somebody, your life gets huge. But you get very tiny.
But not you. Your incredible philanthropy and preservation work.
If Peter were to divorce me, I'd lose everything. The preserve, aviary. My whole life hinges on his approval.
He loves you.
I work for him.
It's you actually being dependent on him, and you have to obey his every whim. And that's that song that we all know the lyrics to. We want prenup, yeah. So you fall for this man who is charming and has all the resources in the world, who love bombs you into signing a contract where you only get any returns if you provide him heirs, specifically male heirs preferably, as is shown in Sirens and also Charlotte from Sex and the City.
Oh, prenuptial agreements, totally standard. What? And if you have any boys, you'll get another $100,000 free and clear.
Well, how much for girls?
Nada.
Marriage has always been about financial prospects and connections, and women are really valued for youth and looks. My first introduction to this was from my Queen Marilyn in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, who inspired my look today.
Aren't you funny? Don't you know that a man being rich is like a girl being pretty? You might not marry a girl just because she's pretty, but my goodness, doesn't it help?
Lorelai is one of my favourite gold diggers.
And if you had a daughter, wouldn't you rather she didn't marry a poor man?
But I was...
You'd want her to have the most wonderful things in the world and to be very happy. Oh, why is it wrong for me to want those things?
Well, I concede that... Say, they told me you were stupid.
And she did actually love him, but she also understood the world that she lived in, and how he would expect her to not work anymore after they got married so that she would be a more respectable woman. So she had to be sure that she was going to be taken care of. Just like we all know the speech from Little Women,
I've always known I would marry rich. Why should I be ashamed of that?
because Amy was told it was her duty to marry someone that had a good financial backing. And I have explored how hard it is to financially be single these days. And that was from 2 years ago. It's gotten even harder now. Yet so many accusations of women being gold diggers gets thrown around constantly if she ever expects to go on a date or to exchange anniversary gifts or something. But this is coming from guys as this real shares. Me after being called a gold digger by a guy who has no gold for me to dig.
She's not a gold digger if she just wants you to pay for dinner. Gold diggers go after G-Wagons and Birkins, not a plate of pasta and a glass of wine. And I know this because I'm a gold digger. That's why I have things like, I don't know, land? The girl hopping into your Honda Civic to go to the Cheesecake Factory is not a gold digger.
So we have guys without a fortune and without a job even, thanks to the manosphere, putting up all of these accusations of women just being gold diggers. And in order to make us prove our worth to them via the tradwife method. Cue the guys in the comment section saying, yeah, well, we don't need women anymore anyway because we've got technology that can replace you. Whoa, Chad, stop spoiling my video topic for next time. But the traditional role is where we belong, you see. It's our rightful place and why the virtuous one normally wins. Marriage is so important to have a healthy society, you see, because then you can create a nuclear family. And when you have a nuclear family, then that just means that you have to rely on your husband. You don't need to look to the government for any support. It goes by him and whatever he says goes. So don't go telling me that we haven't been trained from infancy to marry someone grand that can take care of us, because we are all raised in this patriarchal capitalistic society, right? So it always makes me laugh when men get angry that women expect a guy to have a steady job. I mean, like I said, if you love patriarchy so much, you must be thriving in it. As Kristen R. Godsey says, when there's an economic shock, governments need to rapidly shrink the labour force without causing social unrest. Pushing women back into the home is one solution. And yes, governments do want women to rely on men in these roles. In The Other Significant Others by Raina Cohen, more marriages mean fewer people on government roles. These claims should give us pause. The idea that marriage will solve poverty and has historically been fraught with racism, the infamous unmarried welfare queen invoked in politics, in media was invariably a black or Latina mother. The implication was that if only these women married, creating a private welfare state of two, they wouldn't be poor, effectively absolving the government from assisting Americans who are economically disadvantaged. And that book is honestly fantastic, and I will be coming back to it in the future because when it comes to friendships, relationships, and everything around heteronormativity, very important book. And we have to talk about the fascism elephant in the room. Don't think it was never leading here. Because just like the masculinity crisis has helped to fuel fascism, women are key for its uprising too, as is talked about in Naomi Klein's Doppelganger. In fact, fascist and neo-fascist movements from Mussolini to Pinochet have recognized the powerful role played by women, particularly when cast in their supposedly natural role as mothers and protectors of nationalist traditions and healthy bloodlines. For example, rewarded women deemed of good Aryan stock who agreed to quit the workforce and become baby-making machines. And how many right-wing pundits have we heard say that they really want women to be having children? And sometimes they're saying the quiet part out loud that they specifically want white women to be having children. They've been brainstorming ways to, encourage people to want to have children. I mean, that is other than stripping them of their bodily autonomy, which basically forces them to carry through a pregnancy. But just in case that doesn't guarantee it, there's this $5,000 grant grant which has been floated, or a medal for people who have 6 or more children. But we know that they specifically want these medals to only go to white women, because it's only rich white women that they want to have, like, procreating. My God, we really are living in Handmaid's Tale. As is discussed in Anatomy of Fascism, but by Robert O. Paxton, while fascists sought to restore a patriarchy in the family and the workplace, they preferred to mobilize sympathetic women rather than disenfranchise them, at least until they could abolish voting altogether. I mean, we are seeing the writing on the walls, aren't we? And you can see how all of this is looping back, right? While even though there's many variants which can take you down the right-wing pipelines, the ultimate goal is for women to be non-voting, only birthing and only taking care of the home and the husband and the family, only being complicit and docile. When your ability to earn money gets cut off, you are more malleable to men's wishes. Spoilers for Sirens, skip ahead to this timestamp if you haven't watched it yet.
I want you to start sharing our foundation in New York.
Just like Kiki said, you don't have to choose this life in order to be able to escape. Yet the very next day she took all of that away when she fired Simone.
You are my best friend, and now you're a threat to my marriage, and you've put everything that I have built at risk, and so now you have to go.
Forcing Simone to repeat the cycle all over again because her only other option was to return to her abusive father, who she has spent her life running from.
Devin is going away, and it's going to be you and me again.
And so Simone is repeating the cycle whilst the other women don't have to. And this is also how traumatized people end up in these cycles of abuse, because she's not going to have a happy life being with him. Seriously, I love Sirens. I've watched it twice now. Welcome back, everyone that wanted to skip the spoilers. In order for us not to fall for the propaganda, we need to call it out. The issues of the world aren't down to feminism or women gaining more bodily autonomy or trans people getting rights. It's the rich getting exponentially richer whilst the wealth gap keeps on growing, and them telling us that we should fear and hate each other, which we then proceed to do instead of rallying together and working against them. Every time I think about the tropes that we're forced to keep on perpetuating through media to be able to keep like this sort of nonsense propaganda alive, it just makes me appreciate the movie Legally Blonde even more. And people are always shocked when I say it's in my top 10 movies, but it flips most tropes on their head. It's genuinely such a great movie, but because it uses pop culture references, because it's very overtly feminine, and because it's aimed at women and marketed as a rom-com, even though I wouldn't really call it a rom-com, it means that people never take it seriously. Anyway, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, I really want to know what you think is going to happen at the end of the Materialist movie. Like, who do you think Dakota Johnson's character is going to end up with? Or do you think they're going to become a throuple? Or do you think that Pedro Pascal and Chris Evans are going to get together? Or do you think we're just going to have another Sweet Home Alabama situation? But I think that all of us would be choosing Pedro Pascal just because of who he is as a person. Thanks again to Womanizer for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to click my link at the top of the description box or in the pinned comment down below and enter your email address in order to be able to get your free gift from them. And an extra special thanks to my top tier Trash Panda enablers: Alyssa Pisani, Birgit, Carrie Quake, Chris Wallace, Danielle, Jam, Jem, Jeff Boyardee, The Cute Raccoon, Katrina Dunn, Laura Bell, Megan Connolly, Michaela Garfinkel, Mila Gautier, Stella Sapiente, Tammy Poitras, Tonya Bernier, and Farouk Cat Mama. I look forward to seeing you all next time, and I have been reading Laura Bates' new book, and ooh, if any of you have also read it, I think you may be aware of what I'm going to be diving into. It's going to be a fun one. Anyway, and I did try to make this video a bit more fun, because I know I've been covering a lot of more heavy topics, but sometimes we have to, but you know, you can have fun at the same time as talking about fascism, right? We need to have some joy. Anyway, I'll see you all next time. Bye.